friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name's Dalia and we're back on my tropical island Guava doing another build today. If you can tell by the title of the video, we're making quite a big build. We're going to be working on my shops area and we have a lot of building that we have to do for today. So let's head over to the area that we're going to be decorating today, and if you enjoy, stick around. Leave a like and a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you would like to see more builds from me. So today we're going to be building to the left of my plaza. If you've seen any of the builds that I've made for this island, you would know my first ever build was my entrance for this island, and this area I basically left completely blank, and it's just been sitting here as I've been decorating mainly the right side of my island so far. So today we're going to be decorating both of my shops, and my idea for this build is pretty simple. Although the build is quite large, I just wanted to place two shops along the street. So the Able Sisters is going to be on the second tier, and the next cranny I'm going to be creating just to the left of my plaza. So we're starting by building up the cliffs from a build that I had previously made, where I made this kind of like overlook and this fake beach build. I do have an intention of continuing the fake beach. My idea, which you will see towards the end of the video, I'm going to be making another kind of like walkway going up on the second cliff, and then I'll continue my beach kind of on the left side of the bridge, kind of like, so it was just basically cut off by like a land bridge. We're not going to be building that today, but if you're curious if I'm going to be making any more fake beaches on this island, I promise I am, but I'm focusing more on the city aspect of this island for the last couple of builds. So I'm just starting by placing this pathing down. I do apologize throughout the video if I struggle at all for placing the pathing down and you notice me kind of like finick and fiddle around with the placement of the asphalt. I do need to get used to placing this pathing down again. It's been a little while since I've decorated on this island and actually used like the road pathing. And if you're also curious for any of the pathing that I use on this island and the creator codes, I have them all listed in the description, along with the creator codes and the creator's social media if I was able to find them. The main pathing I'm using on this island is created by Colin Crossing, as I have previously mentioned in other builds, and they have a bunch of amazing road paths for different seasons. And this one I'm using is kind of like, it really doesn't have a season in mind, but I know a lot of people use this type of pathing for like spring and summer, even fall islands, I suppose. But yeah, so as you can see, it's a pretty big, it requires like a little over 20 some odd tiles, and it's quite challenging to place it down if you're not used to placing it down. So I'm just gonna get used to placing it down again. But anyway, I created this little area to the left of my plaza. I'm gonna be creating like kind of like a sitting area. On the right side of my plaza, I have like a little juice bar that has the same white checkered tile as the flooring, and I'm just using that to replicate and just do the same thing and mirrored it on the left side. But I'm just going to create like a simple little sitting area using like the pergolas, because I didn't want my nook's cranny to be directly beside my plaza. I wanted there to be just a little bit of a gap, and then I'm going to be creating a incline that is going to lead to the Able Sisters in a few moments. Also, towards the end of the video, I will be moving that house. That is actually Tucker's house. I actually completely forgot that Tucker was on this island. He is the woolly mammoth elephant villager. I found him on a, did I find him? No, he moved in after I went villager hunting and failed like a challenge I did like a month or two ago. And I've completely forgot that he was on this island because I've been decorating mainly on my other island in the last couple of weeks, which if you didn't know, I do have a second island. I have two switches, and my second island is a medieval abandoned like spooky witchy island, which I'm having a lot of fun decorating. It's definitely new and challenging, a little bit different than the previous islands that I've created, much like this one is. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. If you'd like to check out the videos I've made for that island, I've done a couple of builds for that so far. So I'm just placing the simple panel design down, and then the fences over top. I've used this throughout the island just to kind of cover up the cliffs, so you can't see the brown of the cliffs. And yeah, I'll be doing this kind of sporadically throughout the course of the video, so I do cut off a lot of that that section of the video off because you don't want to see me just placing simple panels down. But I use a lot of simple panels on this island. I think that's one of the reasons I am struggling so much with glitching and lag, which, you know, it's a lot of fun. So I'm placing these pergolas down. I place these pergolas on the other side of my plaza as well, where the juice bar is, or the smoothie bar. And then I'm just creating a little sitting area using the garden benches. Throughout the build, I do add and subtract items throughout this area. I'm not quite sure how I wanted to build this area yet, and it's quite a large chunk of like space, so I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to place there, but I'm just throwing down some hedges and some fencing and just kind of fiddling with how I want the edges of the road to look. And once again, like I said, I will continue to remove and add throughout the video, just like items and things. I do have to go around my villagers because it's actually the bug off while I'm doing this this build. Obviously not in real life, we are in July in the game, but yeah. Anyway, so then I'm just placing these flower beds down. I do end up changing this to the plant partitions, and then I could change it later on. Like I said, this is really just trial and error and seeing what I like fits in the spaces. I'm not used to really decorating more city-like builds, as I have mentioned previously while creating this island, but I'm having a lot of fun just kind of experimenting and trying to put my own spin on everything. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun so far. So I kind of leave this area alone in a minute, and then we'll be moving on to the actual build for the Nook's Cranny. Another fun thing that I created is I do make a little parking lot next to the Nook's Cranny, as you will see me create in a minute. Similar to the parking lot that I made at the entrance of my island when I created this island. All I know is because I was going to be making a lot of city streets, I wanted my island entrance to have a parking lot for some reason. So you'll see quite a few parking lots on this island because I think they're a little bit interesting and fun to create. And once again, I haven't really built with like city streets and city like structures, so hopefully you find inspiration from me creating these different builds, because if I can make something like this, trust me, you can easily too. It's not that it's difficult, it's just rather time consuming figuring out how the pathing works, and then because I'm used to more messy and not as structured builds, considering that city builds are a lot more structured in the placement of a lot more things. It just takes a little while to get used to placing items down this way. So here I am, like I said, creating this parking lot, struggling with the placement of the lines. This is what I mean when I say that I struggled with trying to figure this out, but I got the basic placement down because my previous parking lot was vertical, and this one has horizontal placement of the cars. That is literally the only difference. So it does take me a little while to figure out how to place everything, but in the end I feel things, it looks quite cute. And I wanted to create like a little parking lot and then a little area where you have some shopping carts. Unfortunately, I do have to move the shopping carts to a separate area, but I wanted them to be together with the actual cars in the parking lot. Is just unfortunately just due to the size, I didn't want it to be too big, so unfortunately it does not work out, but it's fine. So I'm just creating this little like the little finishing touches for the parking lot, and then we'll be moving on to placing down some items. We can take a step back from placing custom designs in just a minute. I don't really go past the roads that I'm placing down here because I don't know exactly how I'm going to be laying out the roads to the left of this area yet. I do know I'm going to be including some villager houses, most likely doing another kind of like cul-de-sac or like another similar build to the cul-de-sac that I made previously on this island with a couple of my villagers' homes. That was probably one of my favorite builds I made on this island so far. It was a lot of fun to create a cul-de-sac. I've never made a villager's home space like that before, and it was a lot of fun to create that. So now I'm just placing the cars down. This is probably one of my favorite parts about building on this island is just getting to take up a lot of space with these giant cars, like the mini cars, the trucks and everything. And then right here I decided to create a little shopping buggy area. A lot of the colors for this build in particular are yellow and green. It's completely unintentional, I swear. By the time I actually realized how cohesive the colors were, I was kind of past the point of like willing to change them because I thought that it looked really nice. I also think it goes kind of well with the Nook's Cranny because you have the yellow of the building, and then obviously green is just like a pretty neutral standard color, and I think it ties well in with all like the trees and the flowers and plants I am going to be putting down in a couple of minutes. And then in this area over here, I wanted to create just a little, I don't know, a little snack area with some drinks and snack machines. And then I wanted to put in ATM just because I figured most likely you would have an ATM outside of a shopping store. And then I'm just finishing up the cliff. This is where I'm going to be putting the Able Sisters, and then I'm just finishing up the pathing and extending it where I need to. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know exactly how I'm going to be continuing this cliff after I place the Able Sisters. I really have not thought out the layout of this island whatsoever. I'm really just kind of going off of what I want to build at that moment. Like, I originally went into creating a build today. I was actually going to make another build on my other island, but I'm like, you know what, I haven't built on this island in a while, and I've been meaning to build my shops for like about a month. So because I've had this island for a few months already, like I have mentioned in if you've seen any of my videos before, I do build my islands quite slowly. I know people who can finish an island really quick, and unfortunately I'm just not that person. It does take me a long time to find inspiration, and I like to take time with my builds to make them the best that I possibly can make them. And like this build itself took me about 3 days in real time, just because I kept starting and stopping. After I finished making this little area for Nook's Cranny, I actually debated just stopping here and not making the Able Sisters on the second tier, but I didn't want to make that a separate video. I just really wanted to get both builds done at the same time, and I still had inspiration to finish it. I was like, I don't know, it's just such a big amount of space. I've never actually built the Able Sisters and Nook's Cranny separately. All the times I think I've built them, I've made them all together. I think I could actually be wrong about that. I think most of the builds that I've made for my shops, I've made them together because they've always been placed in the same areas on my island. So yeah, and then in this area right behind Nook's Cranny and kind of like to the left of it where all the snack machines and ATM is, I just created a little like I don't know, a storage area, just some extra like cardboard boxes and other like random things that you would like find outside a store or like beside a store. And then I've just placed some shopping baskets and some garbage cans, once again not realizing I was really doing this whole yellow and green thing until it was too late. I think this is when I started to realize that I really could have switched up the colors because it was getting a little too cohesive for me, but I liked it. I thought it was fine. And then I'm just placing a couple of boxes and things around and behind Nook's Cranny, just to kind of cut off like access to the back of Nook's Cranny because there's nothing really back there. And then just finishing up this spot with just a couple of more like random items. And then I realized I really needed to be placing down some trees and palm trees especially. So I'm just placing a couple of palm trees down along the road next to the parking lot. And then I'll be adding a few more in a few minutes, like right here. I don't like putting a lot of coconut trees around just because they're so big and I don't want them to block the buildings that I've created, or the spaces that I've made, but I obviously need to include palm trees because this is a tropical island. Then I moved on to the second tier. This is when I was still trying to like debate whether or not to continue this build over to the Able Sisters. I just was continuing the pathing that I created from the last build and placing this like checkered square concrete tile that you've already watched me place. This is kind of like the sidewalk tile, I guess you can call it. And it's a great way of also sectioning off like the use of different flooring and different tile, because on the second tier I will be using a different color of tile. This one I'm just using this gray concrete kind of checkered tile that I've used for the rest of this area, and then I'll be cutting off the area and doing more of a I don't know, more of a stone kind of design that I've used already a couple times on my island, and I really like the contrast. It's a little more of a beige white color, which is a nice contrast to the gray. I'll be using this one right here, as you guys can see. It's a little more of a smaller pebble stone type of design, which I quite like. I also thought it would complement the Able Sisters quite well. And then I'm placing the tailor shop down, and this is when I'm kind of like, all right, you know what, I will decorate it, I might as well. So I'm just going to finish placing the rest of the tile down and then time travel to move the Able Sisters over, and then we'll start decorating. And to be honest, I'm placing this tile down having absolutely no idea how I'm going to be decorating the Able Sisters, because it's not like I can decorate with a parking lot, because this area over here does not have roads yet. So I'm just placing the hedges. I love the way that the hedges overlook the simple panels and the fences on the lower side. I think it's a nice like little thing to have over top, and I've used this throughout the whole island. I just think it's a nice little contrast. And then I have this little tiny space right here, and I decided to make a coffee stand just because I already had a sitting area to the right, overlooking my plaza. So I'm like, you know what, let's just create like a little tiny coffee cart. Nothing crazy, nothing too flashy, but it's a nice way to kind of like just tie the little areas in. Can you also talk about how tiny the takeaway coffee looks sitting on a table? It's just so small. I wish it was like a little bit bigger. I just feel like it would look more natural being placed down, but that's just me. And then just finishing out the area, putting a little vintage stool back here for the worker, whoever works at the coffee stand. This could be like a takeaway area for Brewster if he wants to come over here and sell coffee on days where he doesn't want to be inside the museum all day. And then I'm putting these little bio planters on top of the Turkey Day garden stands. I did use this little decorating trick to the entrance of my amusement park in my last video for this island. I just think it looks really cute, and once again, using any pops of green and any pops of like faux plants that I can, I think adds a lot, because a lot of these builds are concrete, like they mainly consist of a lot of custom designs, so placing a lot of fake plants I think just adds a lot more color where I can't place actual trees and flowers. And speaking of trees, I'm placing some palm trees, and then those little planters again, and then instead of placing back another fake thing, I decided to put some bushes. I'm just trying to add green wherever I can, like I mentioned. I was also getting kind of frustrated trying to figure out how to decorate the Able Sisters, so I went back to the main area and was just throwing down some items, throwing down some green leaf piles, just kind of fill in those empty spaces. And then because I wanted to fill in more plants and I wanted to add more greenery, I decided to plant a couple of orange trees, and then I'm going to be creating a little garden just right behind the hedges. I just wanted to add a couple flowers and bushes, and just to kind of break up all the concrete like I mentioned. And I don't have any flowers in this build other than on the bushes, So I wanted to add just like a little bit of something. So I'll go back and do that in a minute. And because I didn't know what to place to the left of the Able Sisters, I decided, because Nook's Cranny has like a little area where they have like storage beside and behind their store, I'm gonna do the same thing for the Able Sisters and use the hangers, the hanging racks and the hanging clothes racks, and then I use a fence to kind of block off so you can't exactly see, but it's kind of like an outdoor like shipment area. And like I said, I wanted to create like a little garden, so that's what I'm doing right here. Didn't exactly have like, I was just gonna use like random flowers and colors, but I decided to go with red and white and pink, or not red, pink and white. And then I originally had put a like steel fence here, but I thought it looked too harsh. And I have all these rope partitions from my last build when I made the amusement park, so I decided to put the little white rope partitions. I think it's a cute little way of using the item. I think it's a nice little fence alternative. Obviously it's meant to be like a fence, but it's a nice little fence alternative, and I have so many in my inventory that I really need to use them. And like I said, I don't know what I'm going to be decorating around the Able Sisters yet, so I just wanted to cut off the back area so you can't see it. So I'm just putting more simple panels down. Like, look how many simple panels I've used for this build. Quite a few. I did have to time travel and order quite a few of them. And then the fences, because of course. And then after doing this, we're just going to just add a lot more items down just to kind of complete the area. I'm trying to be comfortable leaving space blank in builds on this island in particular, because I'm so not used to leaving areas not decorated. But I'm trying really hard to get used to leaving areas and spaces for this island empty, because it is meant to be city. Like, you're supposed to be able to walk through, you're supposed to be able to walk through the streets and then walk around the shops with like empty space. But you'll see I try very hard to fill in as much space for this island as I possibly can for these areas. So I placed a little garden bench directly next to the Able Sisters, and then I started placing some street lamps. Something else I really have to remember is placing street lamps down, because obviously what counts for a city island more than street lamps. So I'm placing those down, and then I place a little, like just a couple of phone booths, just because once again I didn't know what I was decorating here. This might not even stay. I needed something to fill the space in with, and I think they actually look really cute, like in this little area. And then I placed like a recycled paper bundle to kind of act like a phone book, I guess you could say. And then once again, just trying to fill in this area with as much greenery as possible. So I use the evergreen ash on either side of the spots next to the parking lot. And at this point, I'm just kind of walking back and forth between the areas and seeing what I could add. I've used the decoy ducks in one build so far on this island, where I had my little water fountain area, and they're meant to be like sitting ducks where you feed the ducks. So kind of doing a similar thing there. And then just throwing some green leaf piles and a couple of manhole covers, and really just finalizing and keeping the areas as open as I possibly can, but still, like, you know, giving them nice color. And then the last thing I had to do was throw down the leftover what's it called, like cars and things. So I'm throwing a couple more manhole covers on the street, and then placing some trucks, a couple of scooters, and just a couple of more cars, just to kind of finish up the street area. And then we're basically done with placing items down. I'm just going around and changing up a little bit of the pathing, and then adding some cracks in the asphalt, as you have a couple of additional codes for this road. So I have like a little crack in the road, and then also this adorable little puddle too. And I think it adds a little bit more realism. Like, I put the puddles behind cars to like act as like it's like spilled oil from the car, or gas, you know what I mean? Speaking of, I'm going to be making a really cool, what's it called, gas station for this island, probably right here, where my villager was just walking. I think it'd be good little build. I'm probably gonna do that in my next build for this for this island. And then I had to throw down a little sitting area here. I don't know why. I could have just left the area blank, but I just put a metal chair and table, and then an iced coffee. Maybe this is a little space where Sable or Mabel comes out and has an iced coffee. I don't know. See, at this point, I'm just throwing random items down. Like, you can tell I'm not used to decorating more city-like builds, but I'm trying really hard to make the areas flow and be as open as possible, but just kind of cluttered too. So at this point, we are officially finished with the build. I just time traveled to an earlier part of the day where it's nice and sunny. And yeah, let's go check out what this build looks like, because when I tell you, it took me days to complete this, but I'm really happy with the finished result. So without further ado, I hope that you guys enjoy, and let's go check out the final result. Alright, that is everything for today's video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed. I had so much fun decorating on this island, and my next video is actually going to be posted on my other island, Grim Isle, on Halloween, so stay tuned for that video. And if you guys enjoyed today's video, don't forget to leave a like on the video, drop a comment down below, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more videos from me. So I hope you guys all have an absolutely wonderful day, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!